Today, we are going to be talking about the summer I turned insufferable. Hi, guys, welcome back to Chai with Manya. If you guys are new to my channel, my name is Manya, and I just like to make videos about books, movies, and pop culture moments. And today, we will be talking about the summer I turned pretty, and then specifically about the books. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because the teaser for season 3 dropped like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and because of that, my timeline has been filled more about the summer I turned pretty and like who Belly is gonna choose between the two brothers. I am aware season 3 is gonna be dropping in August this year, so I feel like in anticipation for that, because I have read all of the books and I've read both, I've watched both of the series. Uh, Don't come into my room, I'm making a video. Okay, as I was saying, I have read all three of the books and I have watched both of the seasons. And if I'm being honest, I don't know which one's worse, the TV show or the books. And because I have finished all of the entire trilogy, I will be talking about the books today and how much I cannot stand Billy. So, to give you guys an introduction for those of you who don't know, The Summer I Turned Pretty is a trilogy written by Jenny Han. It was one of her very first books in her career. The series turned into an Amazon Prime TV show in 2022. And the book, show pretty much became an instant hit the moment it released. And I think, and honestly, in my opinion, it has a lot to do with how much they use Taylor Swift's discography in their soundtrack. The book series is based on the themes of coming of age and teen romance that explores the relationship between Isabella Conklin and her two friends who she grew up with, who are also brothers, Conrad Fisher and Jeremiah Fisher. To go through a very brief synopsis, the series tells the story of Isabel Conklin, who is nicknamed Belly throughout the entire series, and she spends every summer at her mother's best friend's beach house in Cousins Beach with her family and Susannah Fisher, her mom's best friend, and Susannah Fisher's two sons, Conrad and Jeremiah. Belly develops feelings for both brothers throughout the book, and it creates a love triangle and it takes us through the series as she navigates heartbreak, first love, and just becoming independent, becoming into an adult through the summers. From now on onwards, I'll be talking about the issues I have with this series and specifically with Belly. And this video contains massive spoilers. So if you don't want to know, or if you haven't read the book and are wanting to read the book, or if you haven't watched season 3, I would suggest not listening to the end. Okay, so I have massive issues with this series. But you know what? I'm gonna start with the most obvious one is who the hell names their kid Belly? Like, I feel like this is such a small and a petty thing to have an issue with, but like I could never let anyone name anybody Belly. And she has a really nice name, Isabella. And they could have given her any nickname in the world, like Izzy or Bella or Belle or even like Isa, I don't know, but like why would you name your child Belly? And Belly just sounds so childish, so babyish, so immature, and I feel like these all personality traits end up reflecting onto her character throughout the book. And the fact that her name is Belly just prevents me from taking her seriously. Every time Belly's having like a breakdown or a heartbreak or she's crying, she just feels like a baby to me. Like my 6-year-old cousin is more mature than Belly. Going on with Belly is she is a horrible friend, sister, and a very lousy daughter as well. Throughout the entire series, throughout all three of her books, there is absolute no character growth in terms of her personality. I feel like I just mentioned this. I had the same issue with Never Have I Ever. That when the main character never grows, it's very frustrating as a reader or as a watcher to continue watching or reading the series because you're just seeing the character make the same mistakes and having the same issues over and over again, and yet they take zero accountability for what they've done. And when a character grows throughout the series, it's still fun for the reader to read. It's interesting. It adds more. colors to the story. But when people like Belly remain the same throughout the entirety of the books, especially when they in the books, in the first book she's 16, in the last book she's like 20 or something, like you would think she would have changed. I feel like I was a very different person when I was 16, and I'm a very different person when I was 19. I definitely changed a lot. I feel like everyone changes. So it's very unrealistic to think Belly has not changed. She displays this act throughout the books, multiple occasions, just about how immature, self centered, whiny, annoying, and just downright insufferable she is. Exhibit A. In the second book, when Susannah, spoiler alert, Susannah has cancer, she passes away between the first and the second book. When Susannah Fisher dies away, Belly gets jealous at Conrad at his mother's funeral because he was resting his head on a girl's lap. Do you know the fun point is? They were not even together at that point. They had broken up. He is completely within his bounds, put his head on whatever girl's lap he wants to. But Belly sees that and she gets very jealous. Well, she gets mad at him at his mother's funeral. And Conrad obviously tells her to grow up, and she curses at him. And then he said that he was wrong to start a relationship with her because she is so childish. And I agree. Why would you blow up at someone at their mother's funeral? Yes, I guess it. I mean, I get it that it can hurt that your ex has moved on, but maybe blowing up at his mother's funeral is not the correct place to do this. Exhibit B, prom. Belly pressured Conrad into attending her prom when he obviously did not want to show up to. And then she got mad at him for being disinterested and disconnected throughout her entire prom night, essentially ruining her night because he did not want to attend. And do you know why he did not want to attend? It was because his mother was on her dead bed. She was seriously ill. She is dying. He does not know how much time he has left with her. He has issues with his dad. Obviously, he's not going to be interested in going to some teenage prom, especially when he's a college student now. Why would you want to go to prom? And I feel bad for Connor because Belly really, really, really pressured him into attending prom, and then she broke up with him that same night at prom because he was disinterested and disassociated the entire night. Can you really blame him? I mean, I'm gonna get into Conrad later too. Conrad has his issues. Conrad's not exactly a saint. He is very jerky to her. I mean, I get his side though. His mom's dying. Why would he be interested into going to prom, especially and hang out with people he does not know? Exhibit C, Cam. Belly in the first book has found a really nice guy, a nice person, a decent person who's willing to go out with her, who wants to get to know her better, who for her dislike is taking things very slow, but he's nice to her, he's interested in her, he's genuinely caring, and she discards him, throws him completely away for a person that she isn't even sure if he likes her back. She pushes Cam away for Conrad, even when she doesn't know if Conrad even likes her back, or she has no idea if she and Conrad would ever be a thing. And I felt so bad for Cam because he was genuinely the only person in the entire series who I actually truly liked 100%. Exhibit D, Belly kissing Conrad. So in the first book, Belly kisses Conrad when he is distressed about about his mother's cancer returning, and he had rejected her the day before, and then she ends up kissing him, which honestly, it's not the best move to make. Why would you kiss someone when they are distressed about their mother's cancer returning, and when he clearly told you that he is not interested in a romantic relationship right now because he's too focused on his mother? Again, valid reasons for not wanting to be in a relationship. When you're just 18, you're about to go to college, and you find out your mom's got cancer and you don't know how much time you have left because this time it's very serious. I wouldn't want to start a relationship either. I don't think anyone would want to. No one will be in that correct headspace to start a relationship. And finally, Exhibit A. While in the third book she was planning her wedding with Jeremiah, Belly constantly couldn't stop thinking about how much she loves Conrad. and constantly imagines herself kissing Conrad while she is planning her wedding with Jeremiah. If these examples don't show you just how selfish, immature, or annoying Belly can be, then I don't know what else can. Belly's entire life revolves around Conrad. She only, and by the way, guys, she only sees Conrad every year for 2 months. 2 months every year. And her entire life, her entire point of existence, everything she does is just based around Conrad. And at a point gets annoyed because Conrad in the books is written as very boring and broody and grumpy that the reader can't even understand why she would want to go after Conrad who's not even interesting. And he's never displayed a single emotion of romantic feelings towards Belly. Conrad is, like I said, so boring, so grumpy, so broody. He doesn't even have any interesting qualities. In the first book, all he does is broods around the entire area. Every time Conrad walks into the room, the mood just goes down because there's so much tension, because he's so grumpy. Why would you like a guy like that? And when you have better option, why would you like a guy like that? Belly has weird taste in men. Another reason why I genuinely disliked Belly was just how she treated her best friend in the books, even in the TV shows, but especially in the books. And Belly's best friend is Taylor. And for someone who is your best friend, Belly is very, very jealous and she detests Taylor a lot. And Belly and Taylor is like falling out, but not exactly falling out, but they stop being super close because Belly got jealous that Taylor gets more male attention than Belly because Taylor wears makeup and wears better flattering clothes. And Belly just simply feels threatened every time Taylor is around. And this happened when they were 14 years old. If you're that insecure, that uncomfortable around your own best friend, then I don't think she's your best friend. I think you need to get new friends. Because while I do think Belly is so much in the wrong for feeling this way about Taylor, for detesting Taylor, for being herself, I do think that if your best friend isn't able to make you feel secure, you need to get a new best friend. You need to change your friends. Best friends are meant to be there for support and comfort and security. Belly needs to get better friends. As I mentioned earlier, she only sees the Fisher boys 2 months every summer. Why would you choose two boys you see for 2 months every year over your best friend who you see literally the entire year? And this entire point that, oh, Conrad and Jeremiah just know Belly so much better than Taylor or any of her school friends, it just goes over my head because why would two boys who she sees for 2 months a year, they don't really have contact outside of that? Why would they know her better than her friends who see her literally every day for the rest of the year? Moving on, I feel like another thing that I did not get about the series was Susannah. Susannah is not a good mother. Susannah is written to be very likable. She is also shown to be very likable in the show. She's optimistic, she's kind, she's exciting, she's a loving and caring mother. But I feel like she is not a good mother. I think it's very weird and very pressuring to say to a 16-year-old child, oh, you're meant to be for one of my boys. I just know it. I mean, she said something like that. Susannah has known that Belly's meant for one of her boys since the moment Belly was born, which is very weird when you think about it. In a weird way, now that I look back upon the series, I feel like Susannah played a huge role in pushing Belly towards Conrad. I feel like Susannah basically helped Belly start her little crush on Conrad, and I think she also made a huge role in making Jeremiah always feel inferior to Conrad his whole life. I also think it's very wrong to force your child to attend prom when he doesn't want to. Susanna basically forced Conrad to attend prom to make Billy happy, and I don't think that was the correct move. I also think it's wrong for Susanna for promising Belly that she will look after Conrad after he's gone, because technically that's not a 16-year-old's job. They're 16, they're teenagers. Come on, like they're not 26. They're 16. Also, like, I feel like not telling your sons that your cancer is in remission, especially when you know this time you're gonna make it. I don't know. I feel like if I was in Susanna's place, I might have just prepared my sons for a life without their mother rather than keeping it a secret. And when Conrad did find out and Susannah didn't know he found out, she did nothing. She didn't have a conversation with him. She did not talk to him about it. She just let him be grumpy, let him be broody, let him be upset the entire summer without addressing the matter even once. I also think it's so shitty of her to write letters to both of her sons for them to read on their wedding day, only to assume that Conrad would automatically end up with Belly. Because initially, when Jeremiah was gonna get married to Belly, he read Conrad's letter and it broke him down. Because, like, of course, when your own mother thinks that the girl you love is meant to be for someone else, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna harm you. And I feel like for that, Susanna was kind of, it was weird for her to push Belly so much to Conrad, especially if you're your, you should know your own son better enough to know that he doesn't really want her in the moment. And moving on to Conrad, I kind of want to say Conrad is an actual adult in the books. He's one of the only few actual adults in the book. Like I said, he's very much broody, grumpy, dark, a little bit whiny. But he has valid reasons because his mom is dying. His dad cheated on his mom. His dad is trying to sell his child with Summer. His brother kisses the girl he likes. He just has a lot on his shoulders. You know, Conrad is, he has actual adult problems, not you know, not like, oh, the guy I like doesn't like me back belly problems, just actual adult problems. So I feel like he is obviously not emotionally available to be in a relationship. I do think it's wrong the way he treated Belly because he was a jerk to her. He did a lot of like push and pull with her, but at the same time, he did make it also clear to Belly that he's not ready for a relationship. He's just not in the correct emotional mindset. But Belly just pushed herself onto him. I also think one of the reasons why Conrad wanted Belly was because Jeremiah began to want Belly. You know, Conrad is good looking as defined in the books. He knows Belly likes him. Everyone knew Belly likes Conrad. And I think he liked the attention he got from Belly. Up until the point Belly got pretty, and then Conrad, up until the point Belly got pretty and she started getting other male attention. And then he realized that, oh, I'm not the only person Belly is out for. Like, especially when Jeremiah wanted her. I think that's when he was like, oh, I want her too. Initially, I think him wanting Belly just really came off as a good ego boost for him, but later on it did move to genuine likeness. You know, overall, this entire book, it's very unreadable because some of the examples I showcased earlier about Belly's immature behavior, this just happened pretty much every chapter of every book, and it just went on and on again with her best friend, with her mother. The way she treats her mother in the books is horrible. Her brother, her father, Conrad, Jeremiah, it just happened over and over and over again. And after a point, the reader just gets frustrated because I'm like, where is the change? Where is the growth? I genuinely cannot find a good reason for why Conrad would even want Belly, or even Jeremiah for that reason. And Jeremiah's a whole other topic because I feel like what Jeremiah did to Belly was crappy, but I hate how his story arc was built. He was genuinely a good person in the first two books. I don't know what happened in the third books. I tend to ignore that. Belly just became really, really insufferable until the very end. She had a lot of issues with her mom. She blamed everything wrong in her life onto her mom, and I feel like that was not correct because her mom did try multiple times trying to get through to Belly. And yeah, there were times she was harsh at Belly, but she did try. And Belly just outright refuses to listen to anyone. Belly is constantly in a state of self victimization, and it's just very insufferable to read after one point. Anyways, this is pretty much it for this video. Um, I am going to be watching season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty just because I want to know what happens in the end and how they adapt the book to the TV show. How. Anyways, thank you guys for watching my video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!